So moving right along in this process, okay, I said that we're going through complete setup. We've funded the business account. We've pulled up our first financials. You can see that well, even here, you can see that we do have 5,000 in the checking account. I showed you how to change and correct postings if need be. I will have a video, quick rapid fire shorts for the most common things that you may need to do and for different things. So you don't have to watch a really long video. I'm trying to figure out ways to organize all this stuff. So that being said, we're going to dive right into posting our first expenses. I'm going to go over here to the dollar sign, and in through here is usually where all, the main accounting functions are. Again, money in is where we take money in from our clients or others. Money out is typically how we spend money. Okay, there are other areas and ways to get the same information pretty much in a lot of softwares, this one also. But it's a matter of, well, what's the difference? I mean, there are differences with how you post things. So that is why I really want to go into each thing. So we're talking about putting in our first expenses. Okay. Oftentimes, as we all know, when we start a business, and I am going to pull up the financials here, at least the balance sheet anyway. So yeah, we do have, money in our checking. Typically, before we ever get our first client, we are spending money. Okay. When we have a business, there are overhead expenses. Okay. And overhead expenses are expenses that are attributable to your business. They're the cost to do business. It's everything to get all your things up and running. So, opening the bank account, paying the monthly bank fee, to Chase, studio designer software and that type of thing. Okay, these are expenses that your business is incurring, whether it has one client, 100 clients, or no clients. Okay, so that being said, I think usually what's next in this setup, okay, and if you are doing an accounting conversion, you're not really following this, you'd want to check out the accounting conversion video, okay? We're simply setting up everything for a new business starting to use Studio. Okay, so please make sure if you're doing an accounting conversion, definitely check out the accounting conversion video. I do have an old one up. I'm in the process of creating a new one. And if you need help along the way or mess up or have questions, you can reach out to me at info@mareevuitton.com. You can also visit our website and see what we have to offer. So that being said, we are going to go ahead and dive into posting our first expenses. So we're going in through the dollar sign, money out. Okay, you're always going to select the paying account. Okay, when you hear me reference this, I'm always saying, okay, what's the paying account? Okay, this is what I mean. Okay, and in through here, you can see that we do have a template, only one because I'm doing everything in the right order. So I'm going to go in and show you. You can make an order payment, and order payments are purchase orders for things on projects. Okay, we don't have a project yet, so we are going to get ready to post office payments. Okay, and in through here, you have an option to make it recurring. I usually make things recurring just because in the event that I need to repost, I can do that, and I'll explain what I mean. So right now, like I said, Chase Bank is going to charge us a monthly, maintenance or bank fee. So even if we make no money or income, so I'm going to go ahead and post that. Let's just do it like this, and you will see that I use decimal points instead of the slash. The reason I do that, and you will find that I have a reason, a rhyme and a reason for everything that I do. I do this because I export Studio and a lot of other softwares do have the ability to export things, oftentimes into Excel or CSV. So sometimes things don't get always get picked up with the slashes. If you're looking at numbers all day, you can, misinterpret that. I just think it's a nice way to sort, and it's very easy. So I choose to do it that way. I also am adamant about the naming convention you use here. This is because if you are a QuickBooks user or have used QuickBooks, you're going to be used to drilling down on reports and things in your software, and we don't have the ability to do that. But the way that I post does make it easy to identify without having to drill down. And I will show you what that looks like as we get into those postings and work. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and put this in as I usually like to label the accounts or what it is, because oftentimes if you have multiple accounts, you may want to know which fees were attributable to the checking, savings, or what have you. Okay, so I usually like to reference what it is, and I'll say monthly bank fee. Okay, and if you have a default, which we do on this one, we did that at the vendor setup, it will default. You can change this if for some reason we didn't want to call it bank charge. It was something else, but it is a bank charge. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that. And I'm going to save and close. Save and close will take you back out to the money out screen. Save and new. It's going to pull up a new screen. I'm going to go ahead and click save and new so we can post something else. Okay. You're seeing that you have the ability to job cost, and I'm not going to do that. I know I always like to fill everything out in its entirety, but this portion right here is for job costing, and we're not quite there yet. Okay, we're talking about generic overhead, such as rent, phone, bank fee, studio designer, any software, dues and memberships, ACID, that type of thing. Okay, so I am going to save a new. You can see that it does give me the confirmation, and it just pops up a new screen. I'm going to go ahead and I like to use the recurring word if something is recurring, because that lets me know that it's something to expect. It also lets others know if they're working in your system and maybe aren't as familiar. But I will just go ahead and post these. I'll show you. Let's make this recurring, because if you have a studio account, you'll see that you can, select. This does not mean it's going to auto post anything. Okay, it's just more just as an indicator. Okay, so we can even just leave it as monthly. We'll say recurring. Okay, and use these as fully as you can. Like leave a good description. Okay, that you're not going to always remember things, so the more that you can provide to it, the better. Okay, and again, there's reimbursables and things like that, but we're not quite there yet. This is how you're getting in your generic or overhead expenses, right? These are things that are just going to happen regardless. And I'm going to save and close here so you can see what that looks like. Okay. And there you have it. You can see that it is telling me it's about to post $96. You can see I did choose manual. If I chose something else, in the event that you wanted to print a check, which we'll deal with not in this video. Okay, we're just setting up, and we're just posting the very new and beginning transactions. Okay, so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and post it. It's your last chance to change. Just check it out, make sure it's accurate. I'm going to go ahead and post it. Okay, and then it's like you can see now that like I said, we created templates, so you can see that they are here. They're basically there as templates. They do not auto post. You can go in and tweak it as you need to. You're going to uncheck hold. You're going to revise what you need to here, change the dates and stuff, obviously. Typically, I like to leave, if it's a recurring thing, you'll find that I like to have it uniform. If you change it up here, it will not automatically change it down here. So if you change this too, unless you delete and click new distribution. Okay. That's not so important to remember. You will kind of get into your own flow as you work in the system. Okay. But one of the things that I do want to show you in this money out screen is using a generic. Okay. And you might remember, I'll go ahead and save and new. Some of my generics were things like restaurants. Okay. And I just want to show you what that looks like. Okay, and I'm just going to say 1/15/25. Okay, that's the date of the transaction. And when I use the generic restaurant, okay, that is because everybody wants to spell things differently, and it just eliminates you inundating your system with a million vendors of 7-Eleven and Starbucks. And I see people spell Starbucks so many different ways. So then they end up with triplicate vendors, right? Let's avoid that. Let's just call it Starbucks like that. Oops. Okay. And you can see it does, auto-populate if we click new distribution. It does automatically code it to meals and entertainment because I set it up that way. If it was not and I wanted to code it to something else for whatever reason, like maybe some people like to say meeting expense. It's not right, but we can. I'm going to call it office expense. You can do that and put it in, right? If you were buying a gift card or something. Okay, so I am not going to do that. I will leave it at meals and entertainment. But where I'm going with this is I don't bulk enter anything. I will enter it this way, and let's just say $30. Okay, so what this just did, oops. So now it's not recurring, so it's not a template, but I do want it to be a template. So I'm going to go back in and make it a template. Now, what I want you to see, what I'm going to show you, this is how we're using the generics. Okay, this is also how I use travel or gas or parking. So instead of putting every parking garage and location, I would use, I think we have parking and toll. Yeah, we have parking and tolls. And then I would, put you do still want to use these descriptions. It doesn't mean it's a generic, so you don't use them. It's so important to use because this is the only detail you'll be able to see when you pull them up. So please use as much detail, okay? There's nothing worse than pulling up a report and looking through it at the end of the year and somebody saying, that's wrong, or I didn't, do that, but clearly you have them itemized. So don't bulk enter. This is what it looks like. In a situation, though, okay, now I'm going to show you how to use these job costing and reimbursables, okay? Job costing is going to be right here. So if we went to Starbucks for client Jones, this is what I would like for it to be, okay? I would probably go, coffee meeting with client after on-site meeting. Okay, so I might do something like that. Okay, so this means it's going to job it to client Jones when we pull up their job costs. But if I wanted to bill the client, or if I'm not sure, there's a way to post the reimbursables and kind of take this all in. I'm not going to do that now, okay? Because like I said, this is just to get in the generics. I wanted to show that this was here, but we're going to cover that in a later video, okay? We are strictly going over the generics and overhead, okay? So I'm not going to job it, and I'm not going to bill a client. We'll get into that a little bit later, okay? So I am just trying to get this transaction in, and that's how you do it. Okay, so you can see here, it's telling me to post it. It's not posted until we do. If I wanted to change this amount for any reason, I can do that one more time. But once I post it, which I'm going to do now, confirmation. When you go back into the reconciliation of that screen, you can now see all the transactions that we've posted. Okay. And if I wanted to change some things, let me show you. Always use this little pencil. This is the edit. If I were to edit, there are some things you can change. We can change the date if I didn't like the date that it was posted to. Okay, I changed it here and I click the change. You have to see that confirmation or it didn't change. Okay, if I wanted to change the check date as well, you can do it like that. You have to have the confirmation. If for some reason I wanted to change the description, I could do the same that I did these and click that. Okay, you'll notice that I can't change and add a client or order or invoice. I can't change the dollar amount, but I can change the coding. Okay. If you, again, click the little edit or pencil button, you can change it. Okay. So if for some reason I didn't like that, or it was an interest, make sure. Okay, we can change it. I'll just change it to interest expense. Okay. That's how you know it changed. And I usually always like to look one more time. So you can see here it's paying out of our checking account that we wanted it to, and it is coded to interest expense. So I might change that. Change checking. Interest expense. Okay, it's very rare that would be the case unless it was a credit card, right? But that's what it would look like. I'll go ahead and change it. Okay, what you should know about the money out postings, okay, the way that I posted them in money out, $ money out, oops, right? The way that I posted them, and this is obviously the way I like to teach it, at least first when we first start, is when you look at this with the edit button, you can now void it, okay, and I will show you what that looks like. Or delete it. If you delete it, it's gone. And there's not a lot of things you can delete in Studio, which I love, okay? And if you don't love it, you will get used to it, okay? So you can void it, and I am, okay? So if you wanted to void it, you could, okay? So you now can see that the thing you need to know about voiding is the void now dates it to today's date, okay? So in a case like this, and I've seen it happen where somebody voids something but doesn't redate it, they think that they're, clearing the charge, but next month when you go to do the bank rec, the other side of it's going to come up. Okay, so there's tips and tricks. There's reasons why I do things. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. That's one thing you can do with these. Okay, like I said, so I just deleted that. You can see it was deleted. There's no record of it. Okay, that is these money out transactions are one of the things you can delete. So a lot of times in the beginning, I will always teach you to kind of enter it that way. It's a nice, comfortable way to get these beginning charges in. Okay, so this is how you get in the generics. We did not go over job costing or anything. We just briefly walked over it, but I will get into that a little bit later. We are going to get into project payments, okay? Spending money on projects when we get our first project, okay? This is only overhead. So if you have any questions about what I've said, leave them in the comments below. You can visit our website at www.mareevuitton.com. We also have availability to book appointments or calls if you mess up on any parts of this or anything else. And you don't need to be a studio designer user. We do offer services for any software. Okay. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for the next video.